Hi, I'm Eric from AMP. Did you know that the average vehicle on the road today is over 10 years old? Most vehicles out there don't have Android Auto or CarPlay, and many vehicles like this one don't have a screen or a reverse camera. So today we're going to show you how easy it is to upgrade the vehicle you currently own and install our 6.8-inch touchscreen double-din receiver. Today we're going to be using this F-150, so the installation process on your vehicle will be slightly different based on how your vehicle comes apart. But the overall installation process is the same. This installation requires taking apart some interior panels and moving some components over to our dash kit. So we rate this installation a 3 out of 4 pry tools on our install difficulty scale. So come with me as I show you how easy it is to upgrade your vehicle with lots of great new technology.
Before we get started, let's take a look at the tools we're going to need in today's install. Ratchet width extension, 7mm socket, T15 Torx, Phillips screwdriver, pry tool, zip ties, a long zip tie, crimpers, skew driver, butt connectors. Start by lowering the steering wheel to the lowest position. Using a right angle adapter and a 7mm socket, remove the 2 screws from the top of the gauge cluster. Using a nylon pry tool, pry the gauge cluster toward the back of the vehicle. It's easiest to remove the trim panel by putting the key in and shifting the truck out of park. After removing the panel, shift the vehicle back into park. Remove the trim panel to the left side of the radio. Pry up from the bottom and work your way to the top. Disconnect any harnesses that are connected on the back. Remove the small rubber pad from the top of the radio. This gives you access to the 2 7mm bolts which need to be removed. Partially remove the trim panel on the right side of the radio. Using a nylon pry tool, pry it toward the back of the vehicle. We just need to get it out of the way enough to remove the radio. Pry out the sync panel and disconnect the harnesses on the back of it. This gives you access to 1 7mm bolt that needs to be removed. Now we can pop out the factory radio. Disconnect any harnesses on the back of this panel. Using your 7mm socket, remove the factory radio brain and disconnect any harnesses and antennas. Now using a T15 Torx, we're going to unscrew the 4 screws securing the climate controls into the factory dash panel. Set these screws aside, we're going to reuse those to reinstall this climate control into the aftermarket panel. Using a nylon pry tool or a flathead screwdriver, apply a decent amount of pressure to the side locking tabs to disengage them. Then you can push the hazard button assembly through the front of the dash. Then remove the factory cigarette lighter adapter and install it into the aftermarket panel. Take the hazard light assembly switch and pop that into the aftermarket panel, and then reinstall the climate controls using the factory screws. Now we have our dash kit assembly ready to go back into the truck. Now we're ready to attach the dash kit brackets to the multimedia receiver. So take a look at the paper instructions that are included with your dash kit and trim off the plastic tabs based on the illustration that matches your vehicle. Using the supplied screws, attach the brackets to the multimedia receiver. Our kit includes 2 harnesses, one for the radio and one that's vehicle specific. This particular vehicle specific harness does require you to hunt down a few wires in the vehicle and manually connect them. For an even easier installation, we have a radio replacement module that provides all the wires required for your additional functions of your radio. Whether you're using the radio replacement module or the basic harness, match the wires on the 2 harnesses color for color. The F-150 does not have an accessory wire behind the radio, so you need to go to the fuse box and run an accessory lead and connect that to the red wire. If you're completing your installation using the radio replacement module, be sure to connect the extra navigation and other trigger wires like reverse to the wires on the harness. Plug the harnesses into the back of the double-din head unit, and then we're going to use a few zip ties to clean up our wiring so everything's tidy inside the dash. Clip the external microphone on top of the A-pillar plastic. Tuck the microphone wiring behind the plastic. Pop off the small plastic panel on the side of the dash and run it down along the door sill, tucking it in behind the weather stripping. Using a long zip tie or other dash snake, fish the microphone lead through the dash to the radio opening. Pull the excess cable through the opening and reinsert the sail panel. Lower the glove box and squeeze both sides to fully lower the glove box. Route the USB cable through the dash into the glove box, or if you'd like to, you can install it in the dash where the factory sync connector was. Take the excess microphone cable, twist it up and secure it with a zip tie. Plug in your wiring harness into the factory wiring. Plug in the microphone connection. Plug in your antenna adapter. If you're installing a reverse camera, connect that into the reverse camera input. Tuck the wiring inside the dash, and we can mount our double-din head unit into the dash. Just tidying up the wiring, and then we can reinstall the 4 7mm screws that hold the radio into the dash. At this point, with the multimedia head unit in the dash, turn the vehicle on to check for functionality. Once you verify functionality, continue reassembling the vehicle in the reverse order of which you took it apart. There are some initial settings that will need to be adjusted when the multimedia receiver is used for the first time. Proceed to select the desired language, followed by Tuner Area. Press Finish, and now it's ready to be used.
Well, that completes our installation. Remember, installation varies vehicle by vehicle. Not every install will require you to take the factory climate controls and move them to the aftermarket panel. But that's all it takes, and now we've installed a 6.8-inch touchscreen double-din radio with a reverse camera input, CarPlay, Android Auto, and lots of other great technology. Thanks for watching.